Long walk, teeny talks. Long walk, teeny talks. Long walk, teeny talks. Long walk, teeny talks. Yeah!
Welcome back to Long Walk Teeny Talks. My name is David Hensley. I am the owner and creative director of Long Walk Productions, and I am joined, as always, by my beautiful wife and co-host, Katie Bearden.
Hey, everybody. There's only 80 days until Halloween. So
And there will be
at the point of this recording.
Yes, and there will be less than that by the time that it is released online.
Hooray!
So, Katie, what are we talking about in this teeny talk?
As much as I would love to continue talking about Halloween until Halloween is over and then we could talk about next Halloween, I thought it might be interesting and somewhat current to talk about strange or unusual competitions or competitive sports. We just finished up with the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, which actually happened in 2021.
In case you're listening to this in the future and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah. In case you found this in a time capsule and we've all been obliterated off the earth.
In case you're a cockroach, but you're listening to a podcast.
Or a sentient Twinkie.
Damn it, yes. If you're a sentient Twinkie and you're listening to a podcast in the year 2531, I want you to know that the 2020 Olympics actually happened in 2021.
Yeah, let it be known when it's written on Sanskrit and stone and everything else has blown up. But yeah, I ran across this little, I guess it was a promotional video or a sizzle reel that was questioning whether or not esports should be considered an Olympic sport because it is one of the many quickly developing multi-billion-dollar industries out there. So I thought that would be interesting to talk about, and maybe other competitions that have either entered the Olympic arena or we just find competitive and is kind of stupid. Like we put so much pressure on people to excel in whatever they just try to do. Like American Ninja Warrior, can you bounce off of these astronomically hard obstacles to elevate yourself to only do it again in another city on another obstacle course to hopefully get bragging rights? Like, I'm not even sure what the ultimate goal is.
Can you jump between these things and then throw yourself off of this other thing so you can swing from this thing and fall on top of that thing? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But for so long, it's been about like physical ability. And I just think it's very interesting that now we're taking into account people's cognitive abilities too, which I think is really important. Do I think it should be an Olympic sport? No, I don't think so. But at the same time, like
curling is an Olympic sport.
But there's still physical activity to that. Yeah. And there's still like aerodynamics that play a part in it. Like if
I'm sorry, curling is just such an easy target.
It is. And only because we didn't grow up playing it or it being impressed upon us to learn how to play it. So I think the incorporation of like skateboarding and surfing and competitive rock climbing this Olympics was very, very cool. And I think Taekwondo was also, or karate was incorporated too. All physical activities, and then you throw esports in there just on the ballot. I'm just a little, I don't know, it just kind of leaves a question mark in my mind. Not that there's not a place for it, but at the same time, I think the Olympics have made it very abundantly clear that they are into physical exasperation of the human body, right? For a piece of metal around your neck.
Yeah, and I mean, we did a while back. We watched a show on Netflix about like the history of competitive gaming, and people training for that. Which I think of people training for a video game, and I think of them chugging Monster Energy drinks and playing for hours on end. But like, no, they have coaches and they have strategy, and it's more than what you. Let me rephrase this. It's more than what somebody like me who grew up playing Mario would think of in terms of competitive gaming. But that's to say nothing of like reality TV competitions like the one
God.
you brought up right before we started recording.
Yeah.
Let me preface by saying that we are not sponsored by Netflix, and here's why.
So this isn't even really a competition show. Because I grew up in the era of Real World versus Road Rules and Survivor and the Amazing Race. And so, like, to put a competitive nature on this kind of show is a far stretch. And I mean far, far. But I have recently started watching this program on Netflix called Sexy Beasts. And the only competitive part of this is that everybody is so completely vapid on this show that they have to choose somebody. But the premise of the show is you should select people to date apart from their appearance. Mm-hmm. So each person is made up as a different animal or creature or
something otherworldly.
Like there's aliens and statues and panda bears and beavers at some points, and they're all made up in special effects makeup, which is really cool. And I mean, the makeup on this show is astronomically good. So kudos to whoever is putting the makeup on these schmoes. But you whittle it all down, and it's still one candidate, 3 competitors, all going on a blind date, blind quote unquote, with this person, and they kind of, go through the rigmarole of like going to a couple of different locations and making it super dramatic, like when one of them's kicked off and whatever. And it's just so hysterical to me because like there's this dude made up as a beaver, and he's like, "I'm sorry, Anastasia, you're not the one for me." And Anastasia's sitting over there dressed up as like a fucking flower or something. She's like, "It's okay, Donald. You don't know what you're missing," kind of thing. And like they take all their makeup off, and you see that nobody on this show is ugly.
Right.
Nobody on this show is just, has a real life hoof growing out of their head or anything like that. It's not anything that's just like, all of these people are gorgeous. So of course, whenever they take their makeup off, they're like, "Oh no, I made the wrong choice." And I mean, it's so stupid. So that is what we have come down to as far as like competitions for love, competitions for vying for somebody's affections, competitions for money. Like
The Bachelor, The Bachelorette,
Yes.
90 Day Fiance.
Yes.
My pitch on Long Walk Talks, 90 Day Furiance.
with the Fast and the Furious movies?
Yeah, the Fast and the 90 Day Furiance.
Oh, I see.
I'm still trying to make this happen. No one in Hollywood will call me back.
How is that possible when most of the time in the Fast and the Furious movies, whenever anybody is racing, the woman is like, or the female, character that's like, "And when you win, you get me."
Right.
Like that's, actually, Brenda, I'd rather have $20,000.
Right, yeah, or the pink slips to your car.
Exactly.
I'll take you to Baskin Robbins afterwards in my new car.
I'll get you all 31 flavors, honey. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at in the whole grand scheme of things. I like a good competition show, though. I've consumed, over being in our house for the last year and a half now, I've consumed so much content with competitive shows. I love a good competition show. Forged in Fire, Blown Away, The Big Flower Fight.
Nailed it.
I nailed it. Nailed it. The Big Flower Fight, I really, really hope that they bring that back. Y'all, it is just a competitive show about flower arrangements. And it is so pretty. And everybody on the show is really nice. And like they're competitive, but they're still like genuinely good people to a point to where they still work with each other today. I follow a lot of them on the Insta, and they're really nice. And they're still like making flower arrangements apart from the show. So it wasn't just all scripted bullshit, And then like it wasn't even like a a monetary prize that they got. They had their flower sculptures featured in a museum or something like that. And the same thing with Blown Away. Like, it's a glass blowing competition. Just so many different artistic elements that don't necessarily have to be physical in nature as far as like a sporting event. Still very physical as like expelling energy for sure. But then you created something so cool. Like that to me, Netflix has my number whenever like the algorithm is like, well, you watch people make swords and glass and flowers. Would you like them to watch or would you like to watch, I don't know, people make pork badly? I don't know. Like, it's just...
Would you like to watch idiots in makeup go on blind dates?
Yeah,
you know what, Netflix? I think I would.
I'm not really sure how I got to that pathway, but I'm not sorry about it. And it's really, really funny.
Yeah.
And, after all the craziness that 2020 and 2021 has brought upon us, then... if I can get a little levity about somebody trying to make out dressed as a panda, making out with somebody dressed as a beaver, I'm going to go for it.
It was funny. When we first started dating, we watched a lot, because neither one of us had cable, so we would watch a lot of American Ninja Warrior. And there was always that point, like when they're first starting off, and we're like, you know what? I could do that. And then halfway into it, we're like, fuck, I can't do that. No. Well, you're a fucking psychopath.
No. And that's just like all of America watching the Olympics, like from our couches
right.
and being like, come on, Simone. Like, first of all, let's be very clear and upfront. Simone did exactly what she needed to do to take care of herself. And then she was like, you know what? I'm good, and still medaled. Uh-huh. So everybody else shoving potato chips down their throat and sitting on their couch can suck it.
Exactly. So, sitting here in the studio with us tonight
potato chips
is co-host of both Long Walk Talks and This Is a Work, Chris Barnes, who, when Katie and I were discussing this topic, brought up one of my hates. And the listeners of this podcast know, and people who know me in real life know, the things that I love hard. I really do. But the things that I hate equally hard.
Spoken like a true Cancer zodiac sign.
Yeah. Chris brought up Quidditch.
In my defense, I also brought up extreme ironing.
Well, I didn't know extreme ironing was a thing. And you know what? I could probably...
Joke, but yeah.
I could get behind that more than I can get behind Quidditch. So I became aware of this a few years after I graduated from college, which was in 2008. And I discovered through reading an article in my college's local newspaper that my alma mater had a Quidditch team. And I was like, the hell you say? How the fuck does that work?
You went to a liberal arts school.
I know.
What do you think was going to happen?
I don't think there's anyone out there, especially anyone listening to this show, who doesn't know what Quidditch is, but it is a fictional sport from the Harry Potter series in which wizards fly around on broomsticks trying to play flying soccer, basically, with a magical flying bug running around that one person from each team is trying to catch. And if they catch that thing, the game is immediately over. Did I leave anything out? That's the basics of Quidditch, right?
Well, don't they throw a ball into a hole or something?
Yeah. It's like magic flying lacrosse more than soccer.
There's also the bludgers, the things that actively hit people.
Oh, yeah. So you just combined a whole bunch of sports into flying around on broomsticks, catching a snitch.
A snitch.
A snitch.
I even know that.
So, people have started playing this sport in real life, but if you are out there and you're going, no, they haven't, you're right, they haven't, because flying around on broomsticks doesn't exist yet. Neither does snitches. The ones that do exist get stitches. But
Boo.
In the version of Quidditch that non-magical people play, you run around with a broomstick between your legs, which just seems to me...
Just between your legs.
Just between your legs. I'm sorry, but running around with a broomstick between your legs just seems like a really fast way to get to the fucking ER. And then one person from each team is designated as the snitch, and they have to run around while the people who are designated to catch them have to just chase them all around over the course of the entire game. And I don't know how long an actual match of Quidditch goes for because it doesn't exist.
So let me play devil's advocate here.
Please.
So how is that any different than freeze tag?
It's not, but freeze tag is freeze tag and doesn't involve running around with broomsticks between your legs.
But it could.
It could. If we're going to do that, let's call it something not Harry Potter related. Let's call it idiots on broomsticks chasing people.
Also, how do you feel about LARPing then?
LARPing, people know exactly what they're doing.
I don't think people just take a bunch of acid and go play Quidditch either. I think
I'm 100% sure that does happen, but
very, very aware that they are playing Quidditch, and they are very aware that they are on the ground and they are not flying in the air.
Right. I understand that. I'm just saying, if you're going to try to defictionalize anything, I say let's defictionalize the Running Man. Let's make that happen. Let's bring some Stephen King tomfuckery to life.
I'm confused now. I don't know where the line is, because
you know what? I don't either. Honestly, it's just the mere concept of it.
Is it because it's within your realm of pop culture? It is within the last 20 years that you had absorbed that content, right? And now that it's a quote unquote sport, it doesn't seem real to you.
I think it's because I had more questions than there were answers for. Because when I read this, I asked somebody about it, and I was like, so in Harry Potter Quidditch, the wizards fly. Yeah. And what do? We run with broomsticks. Yeah. Around the field. Yeah. But in Harry Potter, there's a magical bug called a snitch that flies around. Yeah. So what do? We have a person running around.
Oh, that's Todd.
Well, what did they call in Harry Potter the people whose whole job Harry was one?
Sneaky Wizzleteats.
Yeah, let's go with that. Chris, what do you got? What was Harry called? A catcher? I don't.
A seeker.
A seeker.
I definitely like Sneaky Wizzleteats better.
Yeah, a sneaky Wizzleteats catcher seeker. In Harry Potter, they have those. Do you have one of those? Yeah. And he just runs around trying to catch the snitch the entire time? Yeah.
I just don't know why this is any different than LARPing. Like, it is LARPing. It's live action role playing. Like, it's different.
But do they have LARPing competitions? Like, can you win at LARPing?
Maybe. That's the whole premise of this podcast. It's like you can put a competitive element on anything. You can just say, hey, we're going to LARP this Saturday, and whoever wins, the red team or the blue team, is going to get a trophy. That makes it a competition.
Okay, yeah. And I mean, also, spoiler alert for the people in them, but I mean, there's also like Civil War reenactments.
Exactly.
But you go into that knowing if you're going to win or lose. At least I hope you do.
What if you didn't? What if you're like, we're going to get them this today, guys?
What do you mean the Confederacy loses?
You're like, where's my costume? It's all great? Yeah. Uh-oh.
Honestly, you're right. I don't know where I draw the line.
I just don't, like, I understand why some things are just different for you as far as, like, being competitions, but, like, I really don't think you can cast any stones.
Can I? No. Am I? Yes.
Sure.
But yes, those are my very hard opinions on Quidditch. Chris is raising his hand. I'm going to turn the mic around. You have 30 seconds, Chris.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to say your Running Man idea is feasible because that's basically American Gladiators, but the gladiators are allowed to kill the contestants.
I loved American Gladiators.
They
I
tried
loved
to reboot
American
it. It didn't work,
Gladiators.
unfortunately.
Now, see,
We weren't ready.
What I want to see is not the 80s Arnold Schwarzenegger Running Man brought to life. Because, yeah, you're right. In that instance, it was just American gladiators, but the gladiators could kill each other. I want to see the book Running Man brought to life, in which one
Just
person...
like the book running around killing people?
Yes. I want to see the book's
weird.
version of the competition, in which a random person is just set loose in America, and all they have to do is avoid a bunch of bounty hunters for 14 days.
Oh, I know who that was.
What?
Donald J. Trump.
Oh, well. Unfortunately,
Shots fired.
Yeah, the bounty hunters.
It's just a
never mind.
pre-purge. You want a pre-purge.
Oh, well, sort of. Like, by the time we reach the world that the Running Man is set in, yeah, I mean, it's like anything else. It's like the Hunger Games. It's like the lottery. It's like Battle Royale. Like, wow, shit's got fucked up. Televised murder is now a form of entertainment.
Oh, my.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That sounds like Black Mirror.
It really is, yeah. Like the book is one of the bleakest, most nihilistic things I've ever read. Right there alongside The Long Walk, which I named my production company after. If that tells you anything about me personally, but yeah, like that books and movies, like Battle Royale, The Running Man, The Long Walk, all the ones I just named, Hunger Games, whatever. They're all based on competition. It's the most dangerous game taken to its logical conclusion, because now, instead of rich weirdos hunting people in the woods for sport, now it's televised for entertainment purposes.
And they're, in the Hunger Games respect, it is sustainability for your colony too. Like, if you win. So those are the new stakes. Like, the stakes now that we have in pop culture is money, or affection, or a second date, or whatever.
Well, it's all just bread and circuses. Let's keep people entertained so they don't rise up and overthrow the government.
Wow.
That's honestly, I mean, that's what all of this shit is. We're keeping people entertained.
Oh my God. This took a hard turn.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
You didn't expect a hard left turn out of me, of all
Right.
people, but no, honestly, it's the Roman gladiatorial games.
When things got hairy, they put on a circus.
Yeah,
and
let's
had a
distract
bunch of-
people.
had a bunch of free games and
Yeah.
killed people in the process. Anyway,
Yeah, looting on Friday, the Patriots play on Sunday.
so can we let these babies play Quidditch out in the yard?
You know what? Fine. If it keeps the babies from killing each other or themselves, if it makes them happy, then yes.
Because, I mean, amateur sports and professional sports keep a lot of revenue generating through this country, unfortunately.
That's true.
So,
I feel bad for the parent of any Quidditch player who gets the phone call from the doctor. I'm sorry, Mr. Jones, your son took a broomstick through the sternum.
I was not thinking that was where you were going with that.
I mean, you could go a lot darker with it, sure. He
I
tripped and
think
got a
we've already
broomstick
been
up his
to-
ass.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry,
All right, there it
turns out
is.
the snitch had
There it
a
is.
gun.
There it is. Okay. That's
And sometimes the snitches get stitches.
all right.
So,
Cool. This topic went to a different place than I anticipated.
I'm so sorry. Competitions, they're fun and healthy. More at 6. Katie, if people want to reach out to you online, where can they do that? at?
I don't want to disclose that information after everything that was just said. So, yeah, I'm good.
No, you don't want people following you online.
good.
I'm sorry.
I'm good. If you go back into the back episodes, then you'll find my my handle. But I'll leave that to the internet sleuthers. But I'm golden. I'm gonna be over here.
I'm so sorry, listeners, and Katie and Chris. If you want to keep up with Long Walk Productions, you can visit us online at longwalk.us. Our Facebook pages are temporarily or possibly permanently disabled at this time.
By the man.
To see more of our original work or to listen to past episodes that are no longer streaming, you can follow the YouTube links in the show notes. So, as always, thank you very much for listening to the show. And if you enjoy the show or any of the shows on our network, please make sure to leave us a rating and a review review on whatever platform you are listening on.
Stay teeny.